Hey, so, tonight I want to share something personal. 3 years ago, I was standing in a bridal boutique, tears streaming down my face as I looked at myself in a dress that cost more than my first car. Everyone kept saying I looked like a princess, like a dream, like everything was finally falling into place, and I believed them. I believed all of it. Because when you're planning the wedding you've imagined since you were 7 years old, you don't look for cracks in the foundation. You don't question whether the person waiting for you at the altar is the one you should be marrying. If this kind of storytelling speaks to you, feel free to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with your thoughts or your own story. Now, dim the lights, or put on your headphones, and let's begin. I met Marcus at a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning in September. I know that sounds like the beginning of every romance novel ever written, but that's exactly how it happened. I was running late for work, fumbling with my phone and my laptop bag, and I knocked into Hyen so hard that his coffee went everywhere. All over his crisp white shirt, all over the floor, all over what I would later learn was a presentation he'd been working on for weeks. Most people would have been furious. Marcus just laughed. He had this way of making you feel like everything was going to be okay, even when you just ruined his morning. He helped me pick up my things, insisted on buying me a coffee to replace the one I'd dropped in the chaos. And somehow, in the 15 minutes we spent talking while he tried to salvage his shirt with paper towels, I felt like I'd known Hyen my entire life. We exchanged numbers. He texted me that afternoon with a photo of Hyenself in a new shirt, joking that I owed Hyen a dry cleaning bill. I offered to buy Hyen dinner instead. He accepted. And just like that, my life split into 2 distinct chapters. Before Marcus, and after. The after was everything I'd been waiting for. Marcus was ambitious, driven, successful. He worked in finance, something with investments that I never fully understood, but that seemed to impress everyone we met. He had this confidence about Hyen, this way of walking into a room and immediately becoming the most interesting person there. People ramavitated toward Hyen. I ramavitated toward Hyen. Within 3 months, we were inseparable. Within 6, Head asked me to move in with Hyen. Within a year, he proposed. It happened on a beach in Santorini, the sun setting over the caldera, the sky painted in shades of pink and gold that didn't seem real. He got down on one knee, pulled out a ring that caught the light in a way that made my breath stop, and asked me to be his wife. I said yes, before Head even finished the question. I remember thinking, in that moment, that this was it. This was the life I was supposed to have. Everything I'd worked for, everything I'd dreamed about, was finally coming together. I had the career I wanted, the apartment I loved, and now I had Marcus. The wedding planning started immediately. Marcus wanted something big, something impressive. I wanted something more intimate, something personal, but I found myself meing to his vision because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You compromise. You find middle ground, except we never really found middle ground. Every decision, every detail, slowly shifted toward what Marcus wanted. The venue went from a small garden ceremony to a Ramond ballroom at one of the most exclusive hotels in the city. The guest list ballooned from 75 people to over 200. The budget went from manageable to terrifying, but I told myself it was fine. I told myself that Marcus just wanted our day to be perfect, that he was excited, that he wanted to celebrate with everyone we knew. I ignored the small voice in my head that whispered this didn't feel like our wedding anymore. It felt like his. My best friend, Rebecca, tried to bring it up once. We were sitting in my apartment, surrounded by invitation samples and seating charts, and she asked me if I was happy, if this was really what I wanted. I remember bristling at the question. Of course I was happy. Why would she even ask that? But Rebecca knew me too well. She'd known me since we were 12, through every awkward phase and heartbreak and triumph. She could read the hesitation in my voice, The way I kept saying Marcus thinks instead of we decided. She didn't push. She just hugged me and told me that whatever I chose, she'd be there. I wish Id listened to her then. I wish Id paid attention to what she was really saying. The engagement period was 18 months. Marcus insisted we needed that much time to plan everything properly, to make sure every detail was perfect. Looking back, I realized those 18 months were filled with tiny moments I should have noticed. Little things that didn't quite add up. Like the way Marcus would get irritated if I spent too much time with my friends. He never said I couldn't see them, but he'd make comments. Subtle things. You saw Rebecca last week. Do you really need to see her again? Or I thought we were spending tonight together whenever I made plans without Hien. Or the way he'd criticize my choices in ways that felt like jokes but left small bruises. Are you really wearing that? Said with a laugh. But a laugh that made me go back and change. Maybe you should skip dessert, said lightly, casually, but heavy enough that I'd push my plate away and pretend I was full. I told myself I was being sensitive, that Marcus just wanted the best for me, that he was stressed with work and wedding planning, and I should give Hien Ramas. My mother noticed, though. She came to visit 6 months before the wedding, and we were having coffee together when she asked me, very quietly, if I was sure about Marcus. I was shocked. My mother had always liked Marcus. She thought he was charming, successful, everything a mother could want for her daughter. But she said something that day that I couldn't shake. She said, I just want to make sure you're choosing Hien, not just choosing the life he can give you. I didn't know how to answer that. Because the truth was, I wasn't sure anymore where Marcus ended and the life we were building began. They felt tangled together, inseparable. The apartment, the wedding, the future wed planned. It all came as a package deal with Hien. I told her I was sure. I told her I loved Hien. And I did. At least, I loved who I thought he was, who had been in that coffee shop on that Tuesday morning. But people change. Or maybe they just reveal who they really are, layer by layer, until you're looking at someone you barely recognize. The first real crack came 4 months before the wedding. I was at the apartment, working from home, when Marcus' phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I wouldn't have looked at it. It'd never been the type to check my partner's phone, except that it kept buzzing. Over and over, text after text. I walked over, thinking maybe it was an emergency, something with work. The screen lit up with a message from a name I didn't recognize. Lauren, can't wait to see you tonight. Same place as always? My stomach dropped. Not because of what the message said necessarily, but because of what it implied. Same place as always. How many tie-ins had there been in always? I unlocked his phone. I knew his password because he'd given it to me months ago, casually. For some reason I couldn't even remember now. I told myself I was being paranoid, that there was an explanation, that Lauren could be anyone, but the messages told a different story. Months of messages, flirtatious texts, inside jokes, references to dinners and drinks and late nights. Nothing explicitly sexual, but intimate in a way that made my chest tight. The way he talked to her was the way he used to talk to me, back when we first met. Playful, attentive, like she was the only person who mattered. When Marcus came home that night, I was sitting on the couch with his phone in my hand. I watched his face change as he saw what I was holding, watched the moment he realized what I'd found. He didn't even try to deny it at first. He just asked me why I was going through his phone, as if that was the problem. As if my breach of privacy was worse than his betrayal. We fought for hours that night. He said Lauren was just a friend, that I was overreacting, that nothing had happened. I wanted to believe Hien. God, I wanted to believe Hien so badly. He cried. He begged me not to throw everything away over a misunderstanding. He said he loved me, that he'd never cheat on me, that I was the only one he wanted to marry. And like an idiot, I believed Hien. Or maybe I just wanted to believe Hien so badly that I convinced myself it was the truth. We went to couples counseling. 3 sessions that felt more like performances than actual therapy. Marcus said all the right things, made all the right promises. He deleted Lauren's number in front of me. He showed me his texts, his emails, his calendar, as if transparency could rebuild trust. I threw myself into wedding planning, using it as a distraction from the doubt that kept creeping in. Every TN I felt uncertain. I'd look at the venue photos, the menu tastings, the floral arrangements. I'd remind myself that we'd come too far to turn back now, that everyone made mistakes. That love meant forgiveness. The invitations went out. 200 people who would witness us promise forever to each other. 200 people who thought they knew our story, who thought they were watching a fairy tale unfold. 3 months before the wedding, my dress arrived. It was everything I'd wanted, everything I'd yearned. Lace and tulle and tiny pearls sewn into intricate patterns. When I put it on, I looked like the version of myself I'd always dreamed of becoming. But when I looked in the mirror, all I could think was, who is this for? The final dress fitting was scheduled for a Saturday morning, 2 months before the wedding. Rebecca came with me, along with my mother and Marcus' mother, Catherine. It was supposed to be one of those perfect moments. The kind you see in movies where everyone tears up and tells the bride she looks beautiful. And they did. They all cried and fussed over the dress and talked about how lucky Marcus was. But I felt numb standing there on that pedestal, turning in slow circles while the seamstress pinned and adjusted. I kept thinking about something that had happened the week before. Marcus and I had been out to dinner with his colleagues. It was some kind of celebration. I can't even remember what for now. But I remember sitting at that table, watching Hyen charm everyone around us, making them laugh, holding court like he always did. And then, Head made a joke about me. It wasn't even that bad. Not really. Something about how I could never remember directions, how he always had to navigate everywhere we went. Everyone laughed. I laughed too, even though I felt something small and sharp lodge itself in my chest. Because it wasn't true. I was perfectly capable of navigating. But Marcus had started insisting on driving everywhere months ago, had taken over planning all our routes, and gradually, I'd just stopped trying. It was easier to let Hyen handle it, but in that moment, at that dinner table, I realized how many small pieces of myself I'd given away without noticing, how many tiens I'd deferred to Hyen, Aramid with Hyen, reshaped myself around his preferences and opinions. I was disappearing, slowly, subtly, but undeniably. "You okay, honey?" My mother's voice pulled me back to the present. I looked down at her from the pedestal, saw the concern in her eyes. "I'm fine," I said automatically. Just thinking about everything we still need to do. It was a lie, but a convenient one. Everyone accepted it, nodded sympathetically, and went back to admiring the dress. After the fitting, Rebecca and I went to lunch, just the two of us. We sat in our favorite cafe, the one we'd been going to since college, and I found myself unable to eat. I just pushed food around my plate while Rebecca watched me with that knowing look she got when she could tell I was holding something back. "You need to tell me what's going on," she finally said. "And don't say you're fine because I know you're not." I wanted to tell her everything. About Lauren, about the small comments that accumulated like remains of sand until they felt like stones in my pockets, about how I didn't feel like myself anymore. But the words wouldn't come, because saying them out loud would make them real, would mean admitting I'd made a mistake, would mean confronting the possibility that I was about to marry the wrong person. "I'm just stressed," I said instead. "Wedding planning is more intense than I thought it would be." Rebecca didn't look convinced, but she let it go. She changed the subject, told me about her own life, her new job, a guy she'd been seeing. I was grateful for the distraction, for the chance to focus on something other than the anxiety that had taken up permanent residence in my chest. That night, Marcus came home late. Again. It was happening more and more frequently. Head texted me that he had to work late, that he had a client dinner, that something urgent had come up. I wanted to trust Hyen. After the Lauren situation, after the counseling, after all his promises, I wanted to believe that he was where he said he was, doing what he said he was doing. But there was this voice in my head that wouldn't shut up, that kept asking questions I didn't want to answer. When he walked in that night, close to midnight, he found me sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop open, looking at our wedding budget. The numbers didn't make sense anymore. Somehow, we'd gone thousands of dollars over what we'd originally planned. And when I tried to track where the money had gone, I couldn't find receipts or explanations for half of it. "You're still up," Marcus said, loosening his tie. He sounded tired. "Where have all these charges been going?" I asked, turning the laptop toward Hyen. "The budget shows we've spent an extra $8,000, but I can't figure out what it was for." He barely glanced at the screen. "I've been handling some of the vendor payments. Don't worry about it, but I want to understand where the money's going. This is our wedding. We should both." I said, "Don't worry about it." His tone was sharp enough that I stopped mid-sentence. Then he softened, rubbed his eyes. "Sorry. Long day. I'll go through it with you this weekend, okay? I promise." He never did. Every time I brought it up, he had an excuse, a distraction, a reason why we needed to talk about it later. Looking back, I think that was when I started to wake up. When the fog I'd been living in began to clear just enough for me to see the outline of what was really happening. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. I noticed how Marcus would position his phone face down whenever he set it on a table, how he'd step into another room to take certain calls, how he'd become irritated if I asked too many questions about where he'd been or who he'd been with. I noticed how he talked about our future. It was always about the things we'd have, the places we'd live, the lifestyle we'd maintain. But he never talked about us. About who we'd be together, how we'd remou, what kind of partnership we'd build. I noticed how small I felt around Hyen, how I'd stopped voicing opinions that might contradict his, how I'd started apologizing for things that weren't my fault, how I walked on eggshells, trying to anticipate his moods, adjusting my behavior to keep Hyen happy. One evening, about 6 weeks before the wedding, I was having dinner with my father. He'd flown in for a few days to help with some last-minute wedding preparations. We were at a steakhouse he loved, and he was telling me stories about when he and my mother got married, about the mistakes they made, the things they learned. Then he paused, looked at me seriously, and said, "Your mother told me she has some concerns about Marcus." I felt my defenses go up immediately. "Mom worries too much. Maybe," he said carefully. "Or maybe she sees something you're too close to see." "Dad, I'm not saying don't marry Hyen," he interrupted. "I'm just saying make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure you're not just following through because you've already sent the invitations and booked the venue and told everyone it's happening." I felt tears prick my eyes. It's not like that. But it was exactly like that, and we both knew it. "Do you remember what you were like before you met Marcus?" My father asked quietly. "You were so full of life, so confident. You knew what you wanted, and you went after it. You lit up every room you walked into." "I'm still that person," I protested weakly. "Are you?" He reached across the table, took my hand. "Because from where I'm sitting, you seem like you're trying to make yourself smaller, like you're afraid to take up too much space." I couldn't respond, couldn't find words that would make sense. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Marcus, listening to Hyen breathe, and I felt like I was suffocating. I got up, went into the living room, and for the first time in months, I let myself really think about what I was doing. About whether this was what I wanted, or just what I'd committed to. I thought about the woman I'd been before Marcus. Confident, independent, sure of myself. I thought about all the small ways I'd changed, all the pieces of myself I'd set aside to make room for Hyen. I thought about spending the rest of my life feeling like this. Small, uncertain, always second-guessing myself, and I felt something crack open inside my chest. Not my heart breaking, but something else. Something that had been locked up for so long I'd forgotten it was there. My voice. My truth. Myself. The next morning, I did something I'd been avoiding for months. I called Lauren. It took me 2 hours to work up the courage to do it. I'd found her number months ago, saved it just in case, though I'd never admitted to myself what just in case meant. When she answered, there was a long pause after I introduced myself. Then she said, "I wondered if you'd ever call." We met at a coffee shop, ironically. Different from the one where Marcus and I had met, but similar enough that it felt like some kind of cosmic joke. Lauren was beautiful, tall, confident, the kind of woman who looked like she belonged in Marcus' world. She ordered a latte and sat down across from me, and I could see the guilt in her eyes. "I don't want to hurt you," she started. "Then tell me the truth," I said. And she did. She told me everything. About how she and Marcus had been seeing each other for 8 months. How Head told her that our engagement was complicated, that he was trying to figure out how to end it without hurting me, how he kept saying he just needed more TN. She told me about dinners and hotels and weekend trips Head claimed were for work. She told me about promises Head made to her, futures Head described, lives Head yinnagend that didn't include me at all. She told me that Shed finally ended it 3 weeks ago, when she realized he was never going to leave me, that I was too useful, too convenient, that he liked the idea of me more than he actually loved me. I listened to all of it. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, absorbing the truth I'd been running from for so long. When she was done, she said, "I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything, but I am. I should have walked away the moment I found out about you." "Why didn't you?" I asked. She looked down at her coffee. "Because he made me feel like I was the only person in the world who mattered. And I wanted that feeling more than I wanted to do the right thing. I understood that. God help me. I understood it completely. I left that coffee shop and I drove. I didn't know where I was going, didn't have a plan. I just drove, until I found myself at the beach, at the same spot where Marcus had proposed. I sat on the sand, and I looked at the ring on my finger. It caught the light, sparkled brilliantly, just like it had that evening in Santorini, and I realized that this ring wasn't a promise of forever. It was a chain, a beautiful, expensive chain that I'd locked around my own finger. I thought about the dress hanging in my closet, the venue we'd booked, the invitations that had been sent, the 200 people who expected to see me walk down that aisle. I thought about my father asking me if I remembered who I used to be, and I thought about who I could be again, if I was brave enough to choose myself. The sun was setting, painting the sky in those same possible shades of pink and gold. But this time, I wasn't looking at a proposal. I was looking at a choice. And for the first tie-in in months, maybe years, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't face Marcus. Not yet. Not until I'd figured out exactly what I was going to say, and how I was going to say it. Instead, I drove to Rebecca's apartment. She opened the door in her pajamas, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside without a word. We sat on her couch, and I told her everything. About Lauren, about the coffee shop conversation, about the months of small deceptions and casual cruelties I'd been too afraid to name. Rebecca listened without interrupting, without judging. When I was done, she said something I'll never forget. "You know what the scariest part of leaving someone is? It's not wondering if you'll be okay without them. It's realizing you've been okay without them for a while, and you just didn't want to admit it." She was right. I had been okay without Marcus, in the ways that mattered. I had my job, my friends, my own life. What I didn't have anymore was myself. I stayed at Rebecca's that night. Marcus called 17 tie-ins, sent 23 texts. I didn't answer any of them. I wasn't ready yet. I needed to be sure of my decision before I faced Hyen, because I knew Head tried to talk me out of it. He was good at that. Good at making me doubt my own perceptions, my own instincts. But this Hyen, I wasn't going to let Hyen. The next morning, I called my mother. She answered on the first ring. Like she'd been waiting for my call. I'm not going through with it, I said. No preamble, no explanation, just the truth. There was a pause. Then she said, "Oh, thank God." I actually laughed. It was the first time I'd laughed in what felt like months. "You're not disappointed?" I asked. "Disappointed?" "Honey," I'm relieved. "Your father and I have been worried sick. We kept hoping you'd realize, well, that you'd realize what we could see, but you couldn't. Why didn't you say something more directly? Why didn't you just tell me? Would you have listened?" she asked gently. "Or would you have just defended Hien and pulled away from us?" She was right again. I would have. I would have gotten defensive, insisted everyone was wrong, that they didn't understand what Marcus and I had together. "I need help canceling everything," I said. "The venue, the caterer, the photographer, all of it. I'll handle it," she said immediately. "You just worry about taking care of yourself." I felt something loosen in my chest. Relief, maybe. Or maybe just the absence of dread. But first, I had to face Marcus. I went home that afternoon. He was waiting for me, pacing in the living room like a caged animal. When I walked in, he rushed toward me, and I saw the panic in his eyes. "Where have you been? I've been calling you all night. I thought something happened to you." "I needed Tien to think," I said calmly. "Think about what? What's going on?" I set my bag down, looked at Hyen, really looked at Hyen, and saw Hyen clearly for the first time in months. Not as the man I'd fallen in love with, but as the man had shown me he actually was. "I met with Lauren yesterday," I said. His face went pale, then red, then something I couldn't quite read. "You what?" "She told me everything, Marcus. 8 months. 8 months you were with her while you were planning a wedding with me." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "She's lying. She's jealous. She's trying to sabotage." "Stop." My voice was steady, stronger than I expected. "Just stop. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not letting you make me feel crazy for trusting my own instincts." "Nothing happened with Lauren," he insisted. "I swear to you, even if that were true, which we both know it's not, it doesn't matter. Because the problem isn't just Lauren. The problem is us. The problem is that somewhere along the way, I stopped being your partner and started being your... What? Your prop? Your supporting character? That's not fair, isn't it?" I felt anger rising now, hot and clean. "When was the last Tien you asked me what I wanted? Really wanted. Not just what I thought you wanted me to want. When was the last Tien you listened to me, without making me feel stupid or oversensitive or dramatic?" He stared at me, and I could see Hyen trying to formulate a response, trying to find the right words that would make this go away. But there weren't any right words. Not anymore. "I'm calling off the wedding," I said. "You can't." "We've already. I can. And I am." "Think about what you're throwing away," he said desperately. "Think about everything we've planned. Everything we've built together. I have thought about it. That's all I've been thinking about for months. And I realized that everything we've built, it's not actually ours. It's yours. You picked the venue. You picked the guest list. You made all the decisions that mattered. I just went along with it because I was so desperate to make you happy that I forgot to check if I was happy. So well, change things," he said quickly. "Well, make it more what you want." "Well, I don't want to marry you, Marcus." The words hung in the air between us. Cyan play. Final. True. His face crumpled, and for a moment I saw genuine pain there. But I also saw something else. Frustration. annoyance. The look of someone who'd just lost a game they thought they'd already won. "Fine," he said, his voice cold now. "Leave then. But don't come crying to me when you realize what a mistake you're making." I almost laughed. Even now, even in this moment, he couldn't just let me go. He had to make it about Hyen being right and me being wrong. "I'm going to stay with Rebecca for a few days," I said. "I'll come back to pack my things when you're at work. This is my apartment," he said. "You know that, right? You've been living in my place." I did know that. Head made sure I knew it, in 100 small ways over the past 2 years. It was his name on the lease, his furniture, his space that Head ramaciously allowed me to occupy. "I know," I said. "I'll be out by the end of the week." I remabbed some clothes and toiletries, threw them in a bag, and walked out of that apartment. Out of Marcus' carefully curated life, and I felt lighter than I had in years. The next few days were chaos. My mother helped me cancel everything she could, but some vendors wouldn't refund our deposits. We lost money, a lot of money. Money I'd worked hard to save. Money that had been supposed to launch our new life together. But it was worth it. Every penny was worth it. The hardest part was telling people. Explaining to family and friends that the wedding was off, that Marcus and I were done. Most people were supportive, even if they were confused. But some people weren't. Marcus' mother called me, furious. She accused me of leading Marcus on, of wasting everyone's tien and money, of embarrassing their family. I listened to her rant for about 30 seconds before I hung up. I didn't owe her an explanation. I didn't owe anyone an explanation except myself. My coworkers were gentler, but I could see the pity in their eyes. Poor girl, calling off her wedding so close to the date. Something must have gone terribly wrong. They were right. Something had gone terribly wrong. But it wasn't what they thought. What had gone wrong was that I'd lost myself. I'd become so focused on checking boxes, relationship, engagement, wedding, marriage, that I'd forgotten to ask if I was checking them with the right person. Rebecca helped me find a new apartment. It was smaller than Marcus' place, less expensive, in a neighborhood I'd always loved but had always called too far from everything. It was perfect. I moved in with just my clothes and a few personal items. Everything else had been his, or had felt like his, and I didn't want any of it. I wanted to start fresh, to build a space that was entirely mine. My first night in that apartment, I sat on the floor because I didn't have furniture yet. I ate takeout from paper containers, and I felt more at home than I had in years. The dress was the hardest thing to deal with. That beautiful, perfect dress hanging in my old closet. My mother offered to sell it for me, to try to recoup some of the money, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't let that dress go to someone else's wedding. Couldn't watch another woman walk down the aisle in something that represented my biggest mistake. So, I donated it to a charity that provided dresses to brides who couldn't afford them. Maybe someone else would have their dream wedding in that dress. Maybe they'd have the happy ending I didn't get. I hoped so. I really did. 3 weeks after I left Marcus, Rebecca came over with wine and Chinese food. We sat on my new couch, the first piece of furniture I'd bought myself, and she raised her glass. "To new beginnings," she said. "To new beginnings," I echoed. We drank, and then she looked at me with that serious expression she got when she had something important to say. "Can I ask you something?" "Always. Do you re-remade it? Any of it?" I thought about the question. About Marcus, about the relationship, about the 2 years I'd spent trying to become someone I thought he wanted me to be. "No," I said slowly. "I don't re-remit it. Because I learned something important. I learned that there's a difference between being loved and being controlled. Between being supported and being managed. Between partnership and performance. That's pretty wise for someone who's been living on takeout and sleeping on a blow-up mattress for 3 weeks. I laughed. The blow-up mattress gives me perspective, but she was right. In those 3 weeks, Id discovered something about myself, about my resilience, my strength, my ability to survive something that had felt like it would destroy me. Id thought leaving Marcus would mean losing everything. But instead, Id gained something back. Something I hadn't even realized Id lost. Myself? The girl Hud spilled coffee on a stranger and laughed about it. The girl Hud had dreams and opinions and a voice that didn't always have to be quiet. She was still there. She'd just been buried under layers of compromise and self-doubt and fear, but she was coming back. A month after leaving Marcus, I got a message from Hian. It was late at night, the kind of hour when people make decisions they shouldn't make and send texts they should delete. I was lying in bed, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, when his name appeared on my screen. My first instinct was to delete it without reading, but curiosity got the better of me. I know I have no right to ask this, but can we talk? I need to explain some things. I need you to understand what really happened. Please. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to maintain the clean break Id fought so hard for. But another part of me, the part that still had questions, still wanted closure, was tempted. I texted Rebecca. Marcus wants to talk. Should I? Her response was immediate. Absolutely not. Whatever he has to say, you don't need to hear it. She was probably right. But I kept thinking about all the conversations Wed never had. All the things Id never said because I was afraid of his reaction. Id left without fighting, without screaming, without demanding the answers I deserved. Maybe I needed to hear what he had to say. Not for Hian, but for me. So I could close this chapter completely, without wondering what if. Against my better judgment, I texted back. Coffee. Tomorrow. Public place. We met at a cafe downtown. Neutral territory. I got there early, ordered my own coffee, and sat at a table near the window where people could see us. I wasn't taking any chances. When Marcus walked in, I was struck by how different he looked. Tired. Older, somehow. Head lost weight, and there were circles under his eyes that hadn't been there before. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me just felt sad. He sat down across from me, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said, "Thank you for meeting me. I wasn't sure you would. I wasn't sure I would either." He fidgeted with his coffee cup, not meeting my eyes. "I owe you an apology. A real one, not the half-assed things I said before. Okay, everything you said was right. About Lauren, about how I treated you, about all of it. I was selfish. I was manipulative. I took advantage of how much you loved me, and I twisted it into something that served me. I waited. This felt like a speech Head practiced. I've been in therapy," he continued, "since you left. And I've had to confront some hard truths about myself, about patterns I've repeated in every relationship I've ever had. Good for you," I said, and I meant it, not sarcastically. I genuinely hoped he was working on himself. "The thing is," he said, finally looking at me, "I really did love you. I know that's hard to believe given everything I did, but it's true. I just didn't know how to love you in a healthy way. I only knew how to control, to possess, to make you into what I thought I needed. Why are you telling me this, Marcus?" He was quiet for a moment. "Because I want you to know that what happened wasn't your fault. None of it. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't fail. I failed, and I need you to hear that from me. So you don't spend the rest of your life wondering if you could have done something differently." I felt tears prick my eyes. Unexpected and unwelcome, because some part of me had been wondering exactly that. Some part of me had been carrying the guilt, thinking maybe if it'd been better, prettier, more understanding, more accommodating, it would have worked. "I also wanted to tell you," he continued, "that Lauren and I aren't together. We never really were. She was a distraction, a way to avoid dealing with the fact that I wasn't happy with myself. And when she realized that, She left too. I'm not sure why you think I care about your relationship with Lauren. You're right. You shouldn't care. I wanted you to know that you weren't competing with her. You were never competing with anyone. This was about my own issues, my own inability to be the partner you deserved. I took a sip of my coffee, letting his words settle. Is there anything else? Just one more thing. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. For a horrifying moment, I thought it was the engagement ring, that he was going to ask me to take it back or try to propose again, but it wasn't. When he opened it, I saw a delicate silver bracelet. The one Id left behind because Id thought it was from Hyen. This was your mother's, he said. You left it at the apartment. I wanted to make sure you got it back. I'd forgotten about the bracelet. My mother had given it to me years ago, before she passed. I'd worn it every day until I moved in with Marcus, then stopped because Head once commented that it looked cheap next to the expensive jewelry Head bought me. I took the box, my hands trembling slightly. Thank you. I'm sorry, he said again. For everything. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. Yeah, I said softly. I did. We sat there for another minute in silence. Then I stood up, slipping the bracelet box into my purse. I hope therapy helps you, I said. I really do. Not for me, but for whoever comes after me. There won't be anyone for a while, he said. I need to figure out how to be okay with myself before I can be with anyone else. That's probably smart. I turned to leave, but his voice stopped me. Do you ever miss it? Us? I looked back at Hyen. At this man I'd almost married, almost promised my life to. No, I said honestly. I miss who I thought you were. I miss who I was before I met you. But I don't miss us, because we weren't real. We were just an idea I convinced myself I wanted. I walked out of that cafe, and I didn't look back. Rebecca was waiting for me at my apartment. Shed insisted on being there when I got home, just in case I needed someone. How was it? She asked, as soon as I walked in. Weird. Sad. But also necessary, I think. I told her about the conversation, about Marcus' apology, about the bracelet. When I was done, she hugged me tight. I'm proud of you, she said. For giving Hyen the chance to apologize, but also for not letting that apology change anything. You didn't owe Hyen forgiveness just because he finally figured out he was wrong. She was right. I didn't forgive Hyen, not really. But I also didn't hate Hyen anymore. I just felt nothing, which was somehow better than all the anger and hurt I'd been carrying. That night, I put my mother's bracelet on. It felt different now, lighter somehow, like it was mine again, not something I had to hide or feel ashamed of. Life started finding its rhythm again. I threw myself into work, got a promotion I'd been too afraid to ask for when I was with Marcus. I started taking a pottery class on weekends, something I'd always wanted to do but never made time for. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted away from, rebuilt relationships I'd neglected, and slowly, day by day, I started feeling like myself again. About 2 months after the coffee shop meeting with Marcus, I went to a birthday party for a colleague from work. I almost didn't go. I still wasn't Ramit at social situations. Still felt like people were looking at me and thinking about my canceled wedding. But Rebecca convinced me, told me I needed to stop hiding, stop letting my past define my present. So, I went. And I met someone. His name was David. He was a friend of the birthday girl, worked in architecture, had an easy smile and kind eyes. We ended up talking for hours, standing in the corner of the party long after everyone else had left. When he asked for my number, I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to give it to Hyen, but because I was afraid of making the same mistakes, of losing myself again, of ending up back where I started. But then I thought about what my father had said, about being that confident, vibrant person who lit up rooms, about not making myself smaller. So I gave Hyen my number. We started seeing each other casually. Coffee dates that turned into dinner dates that turned into long walks in the park. David was different from Marcus in every way that mattered. He asked me questions and actually listened to the answers. He wanted to know what I thought, what I felt, what I dreamed about. He never tried to change me, never made me feel like I needed to be anything other than exactly who I was. One night, about a month into dating, we were having dinner at my apartment. Id cooked something Id rediscovered I loved to do, and we were sitting on my couch talking about our families. "Can I ask you something?" David said. "Sure, I know you were engaged before, and I know it didn't work out, but you've never really talked about what happened." I felt my chest tighten. I'd been dreading this conversation, this moment when I'd have to explain my past and hope it didn't scare Hyen away. "It's okay if you don't want to talk about it," he said quickly. "I just want to make sure I'm not stepping on any landmines, you know? If there are things I should know, things I should avoid doing." He made me feel small, I interrupted. "My ex. He didn't hit me or scream at me or do anything that would be obvious to other people, but he made me feel like I was too much and not enough at the same time, like I needed to constantly adjust myself to fit into his life." David listened without interrupting, and I let Hyen, I continued. "That's the part I'm still working through. I let Hyen do it because I thought that's what love looked like. I thought compromise meant losing pieces of yourself. I thought supporting your partner meant putting their needs above your own, always. That's not love," David said quietly. "That's martyrdom. I know that now. And you're worried I'll do the same thing?" "No," I said honestly. "You're nothing like Hyen. But I'm worried I'll fall into the same patterns. I'm worried I'll start shrinking myself again without even realizing it." David took my hand. "Then, well, be aware of it, both of us. If you start feeling like you have to be smaller, you tell me. And if I ever make you feel that way, even accidentally, I want you to call me out, okay?" I looked at Hyen, at this man who'd stumbled into my life when I wasn't even looking, and I felt something unfold in my chest. Something warm and safe and real. "Okay," I said. We took things slow. David never pushed, never demanded more than I was ready to give. And gradually, I learned to trust again. Not blindly, not naively, but carefully and deliberately. I learned that healthy love feels different, easier. That it doesn't require constant vigilance or walking on eggshells. That disarmaments don't have to feel like the end of the world. I learned that the right person won't make you feel like you need to earn their affection. Won't use your love as a weapon or a bargaining chip. Most importantly, I learned that I could survive heartbreak and come out stronger on the other side. It's been 3 years now since I walked away from that dream wedding. 3 years since I left Marcus and the life I thought I wanted. People sometimes ask me if I re-rammed it. If I ever wonder what would have happened if I'd gone through with it. If I'd walked down that aisle and said I do, the answer is no. I don't re-remit it, and I don't wonder, because I know exactly what would have happened. I would have married Marcus. I would have spent my wedding day smiling for photos and re-meeting guests and pretending everything was perfect. And then I would have spent the rest of my life making myself smaller and smaller, until there was nothing left of me but the shell of who I used to be. I know this because I've talked to women who went through with it. Women who ignored the red flags and married the wrong person because they were too invested in the idea of the wedding to see the reality of the marriage. I've listened to their stories, heard the reremet in their voices when they talk about staying for years in relationships that drained them. Some of them eventually left. Some of them are still there, still trying to convince themselves that it's not that bad, that all relationships require sacrifice. And every time I talk to one of these women, I think, that could have been me. But it's not, because I chose myself. That sounds simple when I say it like that, like it was easy, like it was obvious. But it wasn't. Choosing yourself when everyone else is expecting you to choose something else is one of the hardest things a person can do. It means disappointing people. It means explaining yourself over and over to people who think you're being dramatic or yen-pulsive or making a mistake. It means losing deposits and returning gifts, and fielding awkward questions from relatives who don't understand why you couldn't just work it out. It means being alone for a while, and learning to be okay with that. But it also means freedom. It means getting yourself back. David and I are still together. We moved in together 6 months ago, into a bright apartment with windows that let in so much light I sometimes have to squint in the mornings. It's nothing like Marcus' sleek, expensive place. It's messy and lived in, and full of evidence that 2 actual people exist here. There's my pottery on the bookshelf, some of it good, some of it terrible, all of it mine. There are David's architectural drawings on the walls, his plants on every available surface. There are photos of us with friends, souvenirs from trips we've taken together, books we're both reading with multiple bookmarks because neither of us can commit to finishing one book before starting another. It's a home, not a showpiece. We're talking about getting engaged, not planning it, not rushing toward it, just talking about what it might look like for us. What kind of wedding we'd want, if we'd want one at all. What promises we'd make to each other, and how we'd keep them. It's so different from how it was with Marcus. We're building something together, not trying to squeeze ourselves into a prefabricated dream. Last week, Rebecca came over for dinner. She's been dating the guy she mentioned years ago. They're serious now, talking about their own future. We were sitting on the couch after David had gone to bed, sharing a bottle of wine and talking about nothing and everything. "Can I tell you something?" she said. "I was terrified you were going to marry Marcus. I was prepared to stand up at that wedding and object when they asked if anyone had any objections. You were not. I absolutely was. I'd even rehearsed what I was going to say. This woman deserves better and everyone here knows it." I laughed, but I also felt tears in my eyes. "Would you have really done that?" "In a heartbeat. Because I love you, and I couldn't watch you make that mistake, even if it meant you'd hate me for it. I wouldn't have hated you. I might have been Anrami in the moment, but I wouldn't have hated you. You don't know that. Maybe not. But I know that you were trying to protect me when I wasn't protecting myself, and I'm grateful for that. For you being there even when I didn't want to hear what you were saying." She squeezed my hand. "That's what best friends do. We tell you the truth even when it's hard. We love you, even when you're making terrible decisions. And we help you put your life back together when you finally figure it out." I thought about all the tie-ins Rebecca had been there for me. When I was living on her couch and crying over wedding cancellations. When I was moving into my new apartment with nothing but a suitcase of clothes. When I was nervous about my first date with David and needed someone to tell me I wasn't crazy for trying again. "I don't think I ever properly thanked you," I said, "for everything you did. For putting up with me. You don't need to thank me. That's not how this works. But I wanted to. Because Shed helped save me from myself. My relationship with my parents is better now too. They've met David several tie-ins, and my father said something to me after the first meeting that made me cry. That's what it's supposed to look like," he said. "The way he looks at you, like you're a person, not a possession." My mother just hugged me and told me she was proud of me. For walking away, for starting over, for having the courage to choose differently. I still think about Marcus Somans. Not often, and not in the way I used to. I don't miss Hyan, but I think about the lessons I learned from that relationship, about the things I won't accept again. I heard through mutual friends that he got married last year. Quick engagement, small ceremony, to someone who works in his field. I hope he's different with her. I hope the therapy helped. I hope he learned how to be a partner instead of a manager. But mostly, I hope he doesn't do to her what he did to me. The wedding dress Id donated ended up being worn by 3 different women. The charity called to tell me, thinking I'd want to know. They said each bride had cried when they tried it on, overwhelmed by the idea of wearing something so beautiful. I was glad. That dress deserved to be part of happy memories, not my story of escape. Somadiens. Late at night when I can't sleep, I think about the woman I was 3 years ago. The one standing in the bridal boutique, looking at herself in that mirror, convinced she was looking at her future. I want to go back and tell her the truth. Tell her that the dress is beautiful, but the marriage would be a prison. Tell her to pay attention to the small things, the tiny ways she's disappearing. Tell her that walking away isn't failure, it's the bravest thing she'll ever do. But I can't go back. None of us can. All we can do is learn, grow, choose differently next tie-in, and hope that our stories help someone else choose differently too. I've started writing about my experience, not for publication, just for myself. A way to process everything, to make sense of the journey from that coffee shop where I met Marcus to this apartment where I live with David. But recently, Rebecca suggested I share my story more publicly. Start a blog, maybe, or talk to people who are going through similar things. You could help people, she said. Show them that it's not too late to walk away. That canceled wedding is better than a bad marriage. I'm thinking about it. Because I remember how alone I felt when I was going through it. How I searched for stories of other women who'd called off their weddings and found mostly silence or judgment. Maybe my story could be the one someone else needs to hear. The truth is, I'm happier now than I've ever been. Not because my life is perfect, it's not. I have hard days. I have moments of doubt and fear and wondering if I'm making the right choices. But I have myself back. And that matters more than any wedding, any dress, any dream I ever had about how my life was supposed to look. There's a photo on my fridge, one Rebecca took a few months after I left Marcus. I'm in my new apartment, sitting on the floor because I didn't have furniture yet, eating pizza straight from the box. My hair is a mess. I'm wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt, and I'm laughing at something Rebecca said. I keep that photo there as a reminder of how far I've come, of how much I've rebuilt, of the woman I am when nobody's watching, when I don't have to perform or pretend or make myself smaller. That's the woman David fell in love with. That's the woman my friends and family were hoping would come back. That's the woman I'd lost somewhere in trying to be what Marcus wanted. And that's the woman I'm never giving up again. Last month, David and I took a trip to the beach. Not the one where Marcus proposed, but a different one, a few hours up the coast. We spent the weekend walking on the sand, talking about our dreams, making plans for a future that feels real and achievable, and ours. On our last evening there, we watched the sunset. The sky was pink and gold, just like it had been that night in Santorini. But this tie-in, I wasn't looking at an ending disguised as a beginning. I was looking at something genuine. David took my hand. You know what I love about you? What? You're not afraid to be yourself. Even the messy parts. Even the parts that aren't perfect or put together. You don't try to hide who you are. I learned that the hard way. I said, well, I'm remateful you did. Because the you that you are, she's pretty amazing. I leaned my head on his shoulder and watched the sun sink into the ocean. And I thought about the girl who'd stood on a different beach 3 years ago, looking at a ring and a promise that turned out to be a lie. I wished I could tell her that she'd be okay, better than okay, that the life waiting for her on the other side of that canceled wedding was bigger and brighter and more authentically hers than anything she could have imagined. But she'd have to figure that out for herself, just like I did. Walking away from my dream wedding was the hardest thing I've ever done. It meant admitting I'd been wrong, that I'd invested years in the wrong person, that I'd ignored warning signs I should have heeded. But it also meant choosing myself, choosing my future, choosing the possibility of real love over the performance of fake happiness. And 3 years later, I can say with absolute certainty, it was worth it. Every difficult conversation, every canceled vendor, every awkward explanation to confused relatives, all of it was worth it. Because I'm free now, free to be myself, to love without fear, to build a life that's actually mine, and that's worth more than any dream wedding could ever be. So if you're reading this, If you're standing in your own bridal boutique, or scrolling through wedding venues, or feeling that nagging doubt in the pit of your stomach, listen to it. Listen to the small voice telling you something isn't right. Listen to the friends and family who see what you can't. Listen to yourself, because canceled wedding might sound like the end of the world. But bad marriage? That's so much worse. Choose yourself. Choose your future. Choose the person you are when you're not trying to be who someone else wants you to be. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. I promise.